Hi, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching the Technique of the Month from Digital Photo Magazine. This month I'm going to show you how to create a stunning sunset image using Corel Paint Shop Pro Photo 11. Not only am I going to make a sunset, but I'm also going to make a silhouette to go in the foreground, which is this picture here. Now I did actually try and take this as a silhouette in the camera, and I nearly got it, but it could do with a little bit of work using Paint Shop Pro. So let's start off by going to Adjust, Brightness and Contrast, and Levels. And looking at the levels graph, you'll see it's kind of split in half. We've got the dark areas over here on the left hand side, which is the stones and the foreground grass. And then on the right hand side we have a big spike, which is the bright white areas, which is the sky. Now for this technique to work, I want to get the sky as white as possible, and we can do that simply by moving the slider underneath the right hand side in towards the center until it goes past the spike of the white area there, and that should make our sky go completely white. It's also brightened up the stones a little bit, so I'm just going to bring the right hand slider in a wee bit. Now if I bring it in too much, those stones will go completely black, and that does give you a pure silhouette, but I want just a little bit of detail in there, so let's just bring it back a little bit so we still have a little bit of detail in the shadow area. As we go through the rest of this technique, you'll find it does increase the contrast, and these stones should end up completely black. Okay, we'll just click OK to that, and we're ready for the next step, which is to add a bit of colour in, because it's a bit blank up here, but I've got a sunset to add in. File and Open, and Sunset, there it is. Now it's not a particularly exciting sunset, but it's the colour that I'm after here. So let's copy that, Edit and Copy, and that copies the sunset picture. We can close it down. Then go back to Edit and choose Paste as New Layer. And that'll paste it into the image, but it does cover the stones up. So speaking of layers, let's get the layers on the screen, F8 on the keyboard, and you'll find you have two layers. We have our sunset that we've just copied and pasted, and underneath it the original picture. We've got to find a way of blending these two images together, and we do that by changing from normal, and we're going to use a different blend mode. We're going to use multiply. And that should bring the darker parts of the picture through, and where it was white in the sky, leave it clear so we can see our new coloured sunset. It's a bit blank though up there, isn't it? There's not much in that sky of any interest. So let's put some clouds in. We've got some clouds here as well. Here we go. And we're going to put those in using the same technique. Go to Edit and Copy, and then close down the clouds. They've done their job now. Back to Edit, Paste as New Layer, which will completely cover up the whole picture. Don't worry, F8 on the keyboard to open the Layers palette will show you that all is well and intact underneath. And if we change the blend mode again, this time away from normal, we're going to use Burn. Now Burn is a really good name for this blend mode, because it really does burn the sky. It looks like it's on fire. That's fantastic, I really like that. And you could stop there, that's pretty much done. But to my eye, I'm looking at this top right corner now and thinking it's a little bit darker than the equivalent one on the top left. So we're going to darken the corners down a little bit and just try and bring the interest and the eye towards the center of the picture. We're going to go back to the Layers palette, F8 again, and add a new empty layer. Let's go up to Layers and put New Raster Layer. Click OK to the box that pops up, and you now have a fourth but completely empty layer. Onto that layer I'm going to add a selection. Now we're going to get this selection tool. It could be that it's hidden underneath the magic wand, so just click and hold it and you'll find the selection tool. I want to put a oval or elliptical selection in. Now the default setting is rectangle, but if you click the little down arrow, you'll find ellipse from the drop down list. Okay, let's just add an ellipse in. This tool works by you deciding where the center of your selection is going to be and then dragging out from there. So I want to center it around about there, I think, and I'm just going to click and drag out a selection like so. Yep, about there, looks good. We'll let go when you're happy, and that should become the marching ants. Now, I can't use the selection as it is unless I want a very hard edged line where I've put a selection in. So we need to soften the line by going to Selections, down to Modify, and across to Feather. And this will just blend it out slightly, but I want to put a big feather in, 200 pixels, as many as we can, softer the better. So click OK to that, and the lines will change a little bit. It seems to expand a wee bit. But what we've done there is really blended out that hard edge we would have had. I don't want to select the middle though, I want to darken the corners. So again, back to Selections and choose Invert. Now the selection seems to shrink this time round, but it's still the same, it's just how it appears on the screen. In that new selected area, I'm going to put a nice dark colour. So let's make sure we've got one. The Materials palette, F6 on the keyboard, and make sure that the foreground colour is set to black. Mine isn't, so we'll just change it now. There we are, now it's black. And then we're going to fill that with the Flood Fill tool. And just click anywhere in the selection, and that should make it go all black. We can get rid of the marching ants, Selections, select None, and we're done. Now the effect, to say the least, is perhaps a little heavy-handed, but don't worry, remember we made a layer a few minutes ago. Let's open the Layers palette, F8 on the keyboard. Well, we did that so we can control the effect. The first control we can use is simply to drop the opacity down, and the lower the opacity, the more the sky appears to come through the darkness we've just painted in. And about 40% is about right. It's still much darker on this right side than the left, so let's do a bit of work with the Eraser tool. And what we're going to do is to get the Eraser tool and just rub out this area in the top right corner where it's gone quite dark. So we go back to what we had to begin with, and that's better. That kind of matches up a little bit better to the left and the right. But we can really see where the selection was. Even though we feathered it, it's still quite obvious. So to blend it in, we're going to drop the opacity down to about 5, so really, really low, and then slowly start erasing away on the edge where we can see it. Now it will take a bit of time, and it's worth letting go of the mouse every now and again and giving a chance for your computer to have a breather and catch up. But by blending it in, we can take away the obvious selection that we made and get an effect that works perfectly. There's no rush, take your time, get it to look right. And that looks better. I'm happy with that now. So what we now have is the finished picture. We've got a darkened corners, we've got a dramatic fiery sunset, and that, for me, is absolutely perfect.